So sorry about that, everyone. I had a little bit of a game crash there for me, but should be back up and running now. Again, apologize for that. So you're gonna see there, you got me, Blancy, and Jacko. Still your top three there. Jacko's hot on the heels of Lancy still. I saw that Cynical said we might have had a spin there from Johnny Damon. It's going to see him just a little bit back. Yeah, we did see a spin as he's going to be a bit ahead of Slayerized now. Or, excuse me, a bit behind Slayerized. He's got himself a 14-second gap to work with, but A-Dub's diving into the pit, so we're going to see that gap close very rapidly. See, A-Dub is going with a medium set of tires there, so not a huge surprise by that, but you never know in some of these races. I've seen some pretty interesting curveballs. All of this has promoted Slayerized up into P4 for the moment. I can't remember exactly where he started. Yeah, ended up starting 6th there, so pretty good gains from him so far. No penalties across the board, which I always love to see that. Let it come down to racing on track. We had I think it was Canada. We had quite a few penalties from a lot of these drivers. You can see Johnny Damon with another spin there. That's going to allow Ford to get up through on him. He's on those 19-lap-old tires, so he might be suffering a little bit there. But we saw a race that came down to penalties pretty much, and Jacko, although he did fall out of the window, he was almost able to win the race from 6th position on the grid with how the penalties were shaken out. You see him now 7/10 behind Lancy up ahead. Sees Jacko's all over the back of Lancy here as we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3, and that's going to be Johnny Damon with another spin there. So I'm going to pick up a penalty as well, and that was a 10-second penalty. I imagine he was cutting corners there. Curious about that. We're going to see Lancy now, or excuse me, Jacko making the move on Lancy there. He gets it around him just up the inside there, so a beautiful move on his part. We're going to see Johnny Damon retire from the race, and we're going to see Meeb with a spin. It looks like, yes, it was. So Meeb had a rare moment there, and that's going to allow Lancy and El Majacco to slip on through there. And Meeb's going to be kicking himself for that one, I'm sure. We're going to have another yellow flag. That's an interesting one, and that is going to all the way up. That's going to be Johnny Damon's car in the pits there. But yeah, back to this fight up at front. So Meeb running 20 laps in the lead, has a spin there, and that's going to drop him 2.3 seconds behind in 3rd place. So he's going to have a bit of a battle on his hands if he's going to want to take over that spot up on the pole position again. I know he's wanting to win another race here. And Jacko is adamant about defending his championship title there. So you see him currently leading the race. He's been able to put on performances over and over again throughout this series. Got Lancy now just behind him. Love watching these guys race. They always provide us with some nice clean racing though, and who doesn't enjoy that? And Slayerized is now going to be diving into the pits, so we'll see what kind of tires he's going to be going with. So, looks like Lancy's got a bit more speed than Jacko into some of these corners, but not able to do anything about it, so it's going to be frustrating from him. A-Dub sets a new fastest lap with a 1:34.817 for the McLaren team. And remember guys, there is a bonus point for fastest lap that we award as well for hard chargers, so that one being whoever has the most overtakes, or excuse me, position gains during a race. See Lancey edging his way closer and closer on Jacko now. Looking like he's going to try to slide up the inside. Doesn't have the speed and control to do that. So he has to settle for staying behind for a couple more laps, which might be the more preferred method, honestly. Going to be getting that DRS here coming up pretty quickly. So I'm curious when we're going to see these guys pitting in. It looks like we're going to see Jacko diving into the pits now. So that is going to give Lancey the lead of this race, as Meeb is now just a second back, less than a second back on Lancey at the moment. So we're going to see Jacko in the pit lanes there. See Slayer Eyes went with a hard tire there. He's got a bit of work ahead of himself if he wants to catch up to those guys in front. I know A-Dub had previously just pit. And he got forward on 10 lap old tires. So I imagine we're going to be seeing these front two coming in rather quickly here. I'm wondering if Lancey might make a move coming into the pits now. He's got this pressure from Meeb. He's going to try to hold him up a good bit. We'll see. This Meeb is able to get alongside and ahead of Lancey there. See if he's able to keep control of it. This is where he had his moment earlier, but he's able to control it this time around. And you got A-Dub all over Jacko now. Looking like he's going to want to make something happen. Coming up alongside and passing him. So we see Jacko on those slower tires. Is going to take him a little while to warm them up as well. But I imagine once he gets them warmed up, if he's able to stay close to A-Dub there, he's going to be able to get that one back. We're going to see forward right on the back of Jacko now, as he's just getting obliterated by some of these midfield runners who are on those warmer tires. See if forward's got anything there, as we're going to see Lancey make his dive into the pits now. See what kind of tires he's going to put on. That gives Mead the lead of this race for the time being. I imagine some of these guys are going to be wanting to go with a one-stop strategy, as we are almost to the halfway point in this race. So that anybody pitting for hards now is probably not going to have to pit again unless they have a major spin accident. Fill in the blank. I'm going to see Lancey coming out right behind forward there. Forward not able to gain too much on Jacko though at the moment, as he's already got those tires warmed up and is back on the trail of A-Dub, who has moved himself up into the number 2 spot. And if I'm remembering correctly, A-Dub started on the medium, so he is going to have to pit at least one more time. So he's not going to be able to run here from here to the end on those tires. So you do need to run 2 different tire compounds during a race. See, Lancey's just about a second behind forward now. He's able to scope out what's going on up there and a little bit farther ahead. Hopefully be able to make some gains from any of the fighting that those guys are going to be doing over the next couple laps. Just going to see Meeb going out on another lap now. 24 laps on a set of hard tires. That's an impressive strategy there. Not really sure what his end goal is, but we'll have to pay attention closely and see what he ends up going for. If he's going to extend those out, I'm not sure what his damage is going to be at on those tires, so he might be able to extend it out another 10-15 laps. Maybe. If some of these mediums would do about 20 laps, I would imagine you could probably get about 30 out of a set of hards. You see forward and Lancey now right up close to the back of Jacko at the moment. Seeing a bit of a mid-race fight between these guys for the midfield, actually. Mid-fight for the midfield. We're going to see Lancey just breezing up alongside forward now. Gets just ahead of him. into the braking zone and has that move done, unless he's going to go wide here, which he doesn't. So that's going to allow him to hold on to that position. So nice move from Lancey there. Sees him up into that number 4 spot, and he's got a little bit more to prove. I think he wants to finish up on the podium in the top spot for sure tonight. Thinking if he's got any opportunity of doing that, it's going to be getting ahead of Jacko now and giving him a little bit of a hindrance to getting ahead until he has Meeb to fight with. Maybe would be how I would do it if I was out there racing these guys, but so we're on the start of lap 26 now, so we are almost halfway through this lap will be that point. I see Jacko get a little bit on the inside there, but doesn't get a warning, I don't think. Jacko did get a little bit loose there. Had to back off the throttle a little bit, and that allowed Lancey to get a little bit closer, and A-Dub slipped a little bit farther ahead. Forward is just hanging out in the back of this fight, barely hanging on to DRS while he can. So not a whole lot of different strategies going on for the 8 remaining drivers we've got. You're going to have to see Forward come into the pits a bit earlier than anybody else, I would imagine, as Lancey gets right up alongside Jacko, and they make contact, and that's going to see Jacko going to the inside of that corner. That allowed Forward to come up on through there. And oh my goodness, that is not what Jacko is going to be wanting to see from his evening. So Forward able to gain a position off of that. Lancey might be facing a report a little bit later. Not sure if there's anything more he could have done there to avoid that contact. Not really sure who would have been at fault for that one. I would imagine Lancey, if anybody, for being the initiator of that move. But we see him closing up on A-Dub at the moment. Not able to get anything done there. So he's going to be riding it around again in Meeb. 26 laps on those hard tires. So we'll see what happens with the remainder of his race, if he's going to be pitting this next lap, or how far he can push those out. See, Lancey almost got a little bit loose there, but caught it very quickly. He's got Forward not too far behind him that he's got to watch out for. Lancey makes big gains on A-Dub there. He's on a 4-lap fresher tires, so not a whole lot of difference there, but a little bit might be the difference maker here today. He gets up along the side there, wants to make something happen, but A-Dub making that car as wide as he can. Does a nice job of defending that one there. See, he's gaining again pretty quickly. A-Dub stuck his car in the middle of the track there. Lancey ends up backing out of that move, although he was entitled to be alongside him for that corner. You have to be right up alongside, level with the car coming into the corner if you want to have that, but he doesn't need the corner. He'll just do it on the straightaways. See it coming into this corner here. See if anything changes. They're both able to keep control. A-Dub gets pretty close though. Looking like he might be able to take another dig at Lancey. Ends up having to back off the throttle a little bit there and gets a little less speed out of the corner. And with Meeb now on 28 laps on these tires, I'm curious if we're gonna see him try to go all the way to lap 40 or so and then pit for some softs. Not sure what his strategy with that will be. I saw forward pit after 10 laps on his. That's all I know for reference for how long those last around here. Not sure if he just pit because he had an opportune window or what there. I'll have to ask him after the race. So you're going to see a bit of a lock up there from A-Dub. Does very well to avoid that one. It's a nasty moment there. Oh, and there we're going to see some contact between Forward and Lancey. Not sure what these two were doing there, but that is going to be the end of the front wing for Lancey. Forward's race as it was almost over. Looks like he's going to have a little bit of a gap to Slayer Eyes behind. I'm not sure if he suffered any damage there. I imagine he got a little bit on the side. So unfortunate contact there from those two drivers. Lancey had a little bit of a car magnet tonight. He's got no front wing. He's going to have to baby his way around these final corners, so that's going to let Forward and Slayer Eyes capitalize a lot on that. Pretty much any time you come into somebody and lose your front wing, it's a self-inflicted punishment right away. Yeah, we see Lancey going into the pits. Forward keeping on going. 23 laps left here today for you. There you see Ford slides up into the number 4 spot officially. Meeb 29 laps on those tires. How he's keeping it together, I'm not really sure. We got El Majako back up into that number 3 spot, so I'm sure he's happy with the recovery drive he's had, and I believe we are going to have to see A-Dub pitting once more, so that would promote Jacko back up to P2. Lancey pits for the hards. Gets himself that shiny new front wing there, as you see, for that number 7 car. Slayer Eyes now just 16 seconds back on Forward, so he was able to close down that gap by about 5 or 6 seconds from their time off track. See, El Jacko has got 7.4 seconds he's got to cut out of A-Dub there. But at the moment where things are going, we're going to see Meeb having to pit, and that's about a 22-23 second loss. And if A-Dub does indeed have to pit one more time, then that would just hand the race right over to El Majako. Unless he has any more incidents with anybody. Don't imagine he would. He's a pretty clean driver, keeps to himself a lot. Only makes a move if he has a guarantee, which you love to see from a team standpoint of view for these 100% races. You want a good solid teammate in the car beside you, although I don't think we've seen him with a teammate all season. See, now the field's pretty much all spread out now at the moment. The closest gap is Villeneuve, who is fighting with Lancey down at the back now. Well, trying to fight against his time, more like it is. And then we got Jacko's the next closest gap, currently in the number 3 hole. Forward behind him on 19-lap-old mediums. 23 laps left here, so I'm not sure that he's going to be able to make it to the end on those 19-lap-old mediums already. We saw most drivers pit around lap 20 on those medium tires. Meeb is plugging away on another lap, it looks like. Right on board with him, see how well he's handling some of these corners, give us an indication of his tires. Looks like they're getting pretty bald there. Seen some graining on that front left. You can tell by the different shading there. And he is still doing a pretty decent job controlling it, at least through that first corner. Some of these corners here are a little bit more demanding, a little bit trickier. But he's not really losing any time. Well, he's lost a couple of tenths now on this lap, but other than that, he's been pretty consistent with his lap time, so he may be fairly happy to keep running those tires for a while. Lancey is now within 8 tenths of Baba Yaga up in front of him. See Lancey almost loops it around there, but catches it and saves it, and that's going to negate any progress he really made on Baba Yaga. Now back down to 1.4 behind. So he's got a couple more laps to close that gap down before he's going to be getting DRS, although he probably will have that closed down by the end of this straight. Right on board with him in C. He's already gained a 10th, and it looks like he will see himself back up in there. See him getting up, got the DRS open now. It's going to be a no-nonsense move, it looks like, as he is up and ahead of Baba Yaga there in the Red Bull Williams. It's been a pretty dominant team this season. Forward is now going to be diving in the pits. He grabs another set of mediums, put 20 laps on that last set. So we'll see where he comes out. It might have been enough time. I don't think it. No, he's going to fall behind Slayer Eyes, but not by too much, because we are going to see Lancey now coming around that final corner, so he may overtake Forward as well. In the first few phases of this lap is Forward is going to have to warm those tires up. He's not going to have the best traction. Lancey with a 134.3 sets the new fastest lap. Not a surprise running those tires. Although they are the hardest compound, he's running a lot less fuel than was set by, or than was in the cars when they set their previous best laps. So that's going to give him the ability to really just kind of set a new one there. See, Meeb is in the pits now, so we'll see what that's going to do for the starter. The standings up front, looks like we are going to see A-Dub at least taking a spot off of him, as yeah, Meeb hasn't even come into his box yet. Now, he's coming out of his box, that's what it is. So Meeb is able to hold second position at the moment. Jacko is just far enough back that he wasn't able to nick that spot. But it has put him within 5 seconds at the moment, and he may be able to close down that gap some more, and we'll see how Meeb's able to handle some of these corners. This part here is one of the more tricky parts on cold tires, but he has gone with the mediums, and so he's not going to have any issues getting those 19 more laps around. See, forward is making some slight gains on Slayerized. Forward on those fresher mediums compared to Slayerized 12-lap-old hards. Not a surprise there to see some gains from him. We'll see if he's able to close down that gap. It's at 3 seconds right now. So we'll check in a couple laps. He should be, at this pace, he should be right up on the rear end of him if he's able to keep it this speed for the next few laps. I do know that Slayerized is running that higher downforce setup, so that may compromise him a little bit on the straights as well. Meeb is now 1.6 behind A-Dub in front. Didn't take him more than a lap to get those tires up and operating, and he's already gained half that gap that he had to A-Dub. See, Jacko is able to keep it at 6.3 for the moment, but slowing down. 134.114 by forward, and the Ferrari is our new fastest lap. Just back to what I was saying about these cars having less fuel in the tanks now, running lighter and faster than at the beginning of the race. So if we see anybody else pit now, I'm sure they'll take the fastest lap. I imagine this next time around, Meeb's gonna claim it. He's already 8/10 up, it was looking like. See, Villeneuve is on the back of Baba Yaga at the moment. Coming through here is the last running AlphaTauri we have tonight after Gonzalez had an early retirement. Same from the likes of Johnny Damon. Both those drivers just not having the best of nights. Lancey gets himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Villeneuve gets closer to Baba Yaga. Meeb with a 133.881 for the new fastest lap there, so just 3/10 faster than forward is able to do. See Phil again making impressive inroads on Baba Yaga on that straight, closing that gap back up. See, Meeb is now just 3/10 back on A-Dub. See if he's able to make a pass here coming up onto the straight, and looking like we are going to see that happen, and pulls up right up alongside of him. And ahead he gets. So not a difficult move there for Meeb to make, but a crucial one nonetheless, because getting back ahead of him is important. Didn't want to be held up behind A-Dub and let Jacko get closer, although he has fallen to 7.5 behind now. Villeneuve makes that move on Baba Yaga, seeing himself up into 7th position. Looks like A-Dub's having to baby his car a little bit. Ford makes a move on Slayerized, as well as Baba Yaga making another move on Villeneuve. Not surprising, between Villeneuve and Baba Yaga, those two are pretty close to each other, and so Baba Yaga would have had the DRS coming around there. See if Slayerized got anything for the returning end of forward. Meeb with another fastest lap there. So that extra bonus point is sitting in the Mercedes camp at the moment. Not sure who's going to be on par for positions here. Looking like A-Dub and Baba Yaga are both going to get it at the moment. If we have a tie for the hard charger, then it is awarded to both. Slayerized is just teetering inside that second window. So he does get that DRS flap opened up there. See if he's able to close down much on him. I'm not sure he's going to be able to. Yeah, it's looking like forward is just a little bit too fast on the stretch. Straight stretches there. Jacko is still 7 seconds behind A-Dub at the moment. And A-Dub has been able to keep that gap with Meeb. He hasn't been able to keep it, but it's been growing slower than we normally see it when Meeb gets the lead of the race. So shout out to him for that there. 25 laps left here in the French Grand Prix in our endurance series. 100% races have been a lot of fun since we started this off. Last season was our first season. We had about 8 races. That one bumped it up to 10 this time. So steadily increasing there, and just genuinely enjoy watching these guys race. All of these guys have great skill, and there's a lot of different storylines we've got going on between some of these racers, such as Jacko and Lancey have been beefing since season 1, as well as Skrenzy's been in there a little bit. Saw Meeb at the tail end of season 1 come in and show a dominating performance, and he's been continuing that thus so far this season, and haven't been able to declare a winner for the driver standing yet. We saw Jacko was able to do it. It's a little over halfway through the season last season. And just as a reminder, our current constructor standings are Williams, Aston Martin, followed by Mercedes. So Williams not making the biggest gains tonight with Lancey down in 6th. Aston Martin looking to close down that lead on the Williams camp this race, as well as Mercedes is going to be getting themselves a little bit farther up there into the fight for the constructors. And then over onto the driver standing, we've got Meeb tied as he sets another fastest lap. Meeb tied with Skrenzy, who we haven't seen in a few weeks, out for the lead there, so we're going to see that lead shifting a little bit. And then Jacko is 3rd place currently, so he's going to get another good haul of points. And Lancey is only 1 point behind Jacko in the standings, so crucial to him that he's able to close up this gap at least a little bit, maybe try to nick another position or two, try to minimize that loss that he's going to get as much as he can. And our next closest battles is going to be between Baba Yaga and A-Dub. Baba Yaga sitting 6th currently in the standings. He's got a 3-point lead over A-Dub, so looking like A-Dub is going to claw that spot off of him. Once again, we see Lancey's got himself up close onto the back of Slayer Eyes now, although he does have that penalty against his name that he's going to have to account for at the end of the race. So if he gets a move done here, he's going to have enough time to make something happen, I think, to be able to get that gap up and hold on to that position. But it is crucial that he gets it done within the next 2 or 3 laps, or he might run out of time. See, yeah, he's just got that 3-second penalty to his name, the only driver running a penalty tonight. Getting right up alongside Slayer Eyes at the moment and ahead of him. Now he's not going to be able to let off at all for the remainder of this race. If he wants to hold that position, he's going to have to make something magical happen here. Slayer Eyes, though, is gaining on Lancey at the moment, as he was at 5/10 at the start of this straight, gets it down to 0.25. I'm sure we're going to see him pull back ahead a little bit here. So Lancey's been getting a little bit sideways through some of these corners, so maybe not having the best of nights on those hard tires. Some drivers are able to make hards work everywhere, some nowhere. And this track in particular is not kind to the hard tire users. So we'll see what he's able to do for the remaining 13 laps here. Slayer Eyes staying close, and even if Slayer Eyes isn't able to make a move happen, he is going to overtake him at the end of things if he stays within 3 seconds, because we see A-Dub now diving into the pits, and that's going to allow Jacko up into that number 2 spot. It's going to put A-Dub coming out maybe just a little bit behind forward. Might be tangling himself up into a Lancey Slayer Eyes battle we've got going on here for 5th. Not entirely sure where that's gonna slide, but A-Dub pitting for those softs. He's only got 12 laps he's got to run on him, so Should be pretty manageable at this point. Jacko up into the number 2 spot now on those 18 lap old hards. Yeah, you see Slayer Eyes just falls out to a 1.3 second gap now. So he's gonna want to burn. He doesn't have a whole lot of ERS to play with, so he's not going to be able to burn too much of that to keep that gap. But we're going to see Baba Yaga coming into pits now. 21 laps on a set of mediums. I'd say they have served their duty. See him coming in for the set of soft tires as well. Meeb out in front with a 15.4 second lead. A 15-second lead over second place. That's just incredible driving. Don't see that very often in these leagues here. Baba Yaga coming out of the pits now, just up ahead of Meeb. So he looking like he may get lapped here before the things are done and dusted. So you're going to see Baba Yaga getting those blue flags, just telling him that he's got faster drivers behind him. Gets out of the way quickly for him, which is always what you'd want to see at the start of a race. Or excuse me, at the lead of the race. You don't want to be held up by lap traffic, as it can be particularly infuriating. Slayer Eyes is now 20 laps on that set of hard tires. We know they can do at least 30, as we saw Meeb demonstrate. Looking like his are in pretty good condition still. So we'll see if he's able to keep that going for the remainder of this race. Just 10 laps to go. Or if he's going to need to pit at some point. Not sure how good he is at saving his tires, but judging by how he knows how to wheel, I would imagine pretty good. See yellow flags in Sector 1. That is going to be Lancey with a spin there, so unfortunate from him, going to drop him down to 6th place. So not what you'd like to see. It's going to allow Slayer Eyes up into the lead of him. After they were having a bit of a battle, Lancey pulled out a lead there, but all of that is ancient history now. So Slayer Eyes 10 seconds off of forward, not looking like that gap. Yeah, that gap's just extending. As Meeb sets a new fastest lap with a 1:33.222. So at this stage in the race, I'm not sure we're going to see too much overtaking happen. And we see Villeneuve in the pits though for a fresh set of sauce. But usually at this point in the race, everyone's spread out, as you can see on the timing screen there. All these drivers are spread out far enough to where we're probably not going to see anything major happening. We're going to see a yellow flag in Sector 3 though. And that is going to be Villeneuve in the wall there. Not sure what kind of issues he had. So it's going to be, oh, that's going to be Baba Yaga out of this race. Looks like they had some contact there. Not sure what happened with that. Is a full safety car, as you see. So, you know, I take back what I previously said. We are going to have a little bit of a race on our hands with 9 laps left to go. So once this field bunches up, we'll see where everyone's going to be sitting for who's got what to gain and who's got what to lose. See, Lancey here does have a 3-second time penalty, so he may be the biggest loser out of this bunch here if the whole field gets condensed enough. Oh, it's a virtual safety car, thank you, Wes. So I guess we won't see probably too much bunching up. This virtual safety car DRS is enabled, as with the safety car is ending. The virtual safety car just kind of slows everyone down automatic or electronically, and then the driver, I guess they would clear away any debris on the track if this were a real life situation. But VSCs can be particularly tricky because when it ends, and there's not really much warning, just a couple of seconds telling you to get ready to go racing again. So it can make or breaks in races. I've had my races ruined by virtual safety cars as well as made. And since Baba Yaga DNF'd on lap 46, he might still qualify to get points awarded for 8th spot. If drivers finish 90% of the race, then they're awarded points, and my math is pretty terrible, so I'm not even going to try to guess what that could be. But see there, the gaps didn't really change a whole lot between these drivers. Like I said, the race pretty much gets neutralized for everybody. It's like hitting the pause button and letting the cars almost coast around at 40% speed. So Meeb has once again given us a dominant performance on what that Mercedes car can do. Maybe there's something special about them Mercs. They're just 10 seconds faster on the lap, where anybody who gets behind the wheel, if you're Meeb, you're just going to be fast. Looks like Lancey's had himself a little bit of a spin there. He's able to get going again, not wanting to, you know, toast his tires right away, so kind of pedaling away slowly from the scene. Just want to say shout out to a couple of guys I got over in chat still. You've been real G's to hang out with me this whole time. Yeah, I was going to ask you, Baba Yaga, I wondered if he came out on the pits, did he just not yield position like he should have, or what happened there? I didn't catch it on stream. But to you guys who've been hanging out in the chat with me, it's been lovely having you here to keep me company. Hasn't been the most exciting race on track. We saw a few position changes, nice battle from the top 3 for the first bit of the race, and then saw some collisions and spins. Have since shifted around that order a little bit. Got 6 laps left here. See, Jacko is just kind of staying pretty consistent with where that gap's at. Still losing out a little bit, but not nearly as fast. Oh, he just cut across the white line. Yeah, definitely report him. I'd say report that if you feel you are at the wrong there, because if we got drivers cutting across pit lines, that's just unsafe driving and it's bound to ruin more people's races. So sorry about your race there, Baba Yaga. You're doing pretty well for yourself there. I was hoping you'd be able to bring home that spot. And I'm not sure if you'll get points or not with how far into the race we were, but that'd be a question for Forward himself. See, A-Dub has fallen back a bit from Jacko now. Not much, but just a couple of seconds. Oh, that is unfortunate. Something I like to do, I was told to do when I was first starting racing is I used to never stream my races. I would just record them like that. But every time you come into the pits, just end your first recording and start the second one. And it definitely can help you make better reports. And if you're sifting through hours of footage to find that 10-second clip of something, you know, it's just that much easier, I think. Yeah, of course, buddy. We're all here to help each other be better, so. Jacko is currently a couple tenths up on his best coming through this first sector, so imagine he's not going to be able to do anything against that monstrous lead unless Meeb. I think honestly at this point Meeb could probably start doing do a donut every lap, and yeah, he'll probably win. But yeah, Jacko's sitting there in the number 2 spot, defending champion. He's going to have a bit of a run for his money here. He's got a little bit of a gap to Meeb already in the standings, as it were, and Meeb is going to be, assuming he finishes his last 2 laps, he's going to be taking over the lead of that Drivers' Championship away from Scorenzi, who we haven't seen here in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure if he's had to give it up due to scheduling issues or what, but haven't seen him in a little while. And A-Dub coming in behind him is looking to make some gains on Baba Yaga. He was just behind him. So I'm going to imagine we're going to see him skyrocket up the standings a little bit there, as some of these guys aren't having the best of evenings, or they do have a good bit of the midfield is missing at the moment. See a yellow flag there in Sector 2. Not sure what that one was all about. I would have almost certainly had to have been from Meeb. Slancy has got himself another 3-second time penalty for track violations. I think we heard Villeneuve smacking into the wall a little bit there. Not really able to look around the sides of these cars to see if they get any body damage, unfortunately. So he got I think he was spinning a lot. I think he got frustrated. He cut the corner and got him a 10-second, and then he was speeding in the pit lane to get himself up to those 15 seconds. But not a week he'd like to remember, I would imagine. See, Slayerized makes his dive into the pits now. He's got about a 40-second lead, so he's not going to lose any positions out on this. Just might be trying to go for a fastest lap attempt or something like that at this stage of the race. If he goes ahead, I don't see why he wouldn't put on softs, and softs is what he chooses. Going to see him just about a lap down now, though. So Meeb able to lap up to 5th position in this race. A little bit close to each other there, I'd say. Me, obviously not too worried about any contact from Slayerized. If that would have been me, I would have given him a little bit more room. But see Lancey in the pits as well. Curious to see what tires he's going to be rocking with. Imagine Sauce as well. Yeah, so we just got about a lap, 3/4 left of this French Grand Prix here for you. And Meeb wasn't able to set any laps until the absolute last second in qualifying, and stuck her on pole by a couple tenths as well. So it was a surprise push from him at the end there. Thought we were going to see him starting at the back, but he was out in the front from the start of this race, and really only lost it when he had a spin there earlier at the earlier stages, and that dropped him back a little bit, but he quickly retook that lead away from Jacko, A-Dub, and Lancey. Were all big beefing at the front at that point in time. Then Lancey had a bit of contact with Jacko, and then another spin, some more contact with forward. I saw him drop pretty much down near the back, and then just hasn't been able to make any gains since then. But Jacko with a pretty silent night performance here. Was able to run in the top 5 most of the race. I don't think he was out of sight of that, unless he was for a moment, but it was when he pit and his tires had yet to get up to temperature. See, now we are on our final lap of the race here. A-Dub has closed down that gap on Jacko a little bit, but 7 seconds in a lap is almost unheard of, so I don't imagine we'll see that shrinking at all. Villeneuve now sees himself picking up a 3-second penalty, although his closest competition is Lancey, who is on 6 seconds, so not even going to be an issue. See, Meeb rounds that final corner, and after a dominant race display by him yet again, he's going to be coming home to take the checkered flag, P1 of the... It's the fastest lap in the moment. And 132.7 is the last lap, is the fastest lap for Meeb there. Nice little push from him on the end. He brings home that win yet again. So that's back to back to back for him again. That's a hat trick of wins. Jacko is going to be finishing second there as well. So it's going to be another great performance from him after a couple of lackluster ones earlier in the season after some early damage or a DNF. He's able to make some good inroads on that championship fight. As you see there, yeah, he does come home second. That's going to be A-Dub bringing it home third. So a surprise performance from A-Dub. I didn't have him in my top 5 even this evening. But putting it up on the podium there, and Forward is going to be bringing it home number 4. So shout out to you, Forward, for making me happy and finishing in the top 5. That's what we like to see here. It's going to be Slayer as number 5, Villeneuve 6, and Lancey is going to be in your 7 for our 7th spot. For our remaining finishing drivers, started out with 10, down to 7, had a couple of people who weren't too happy on track. Lancey gets driver of the day, although he did have a little bit of contact. I think Meeb was holding back, because if so, absolutely. You're going to see your podium spots. There, you're going to see the Mercedes taking the top podium spot this evening, followed by Jacko on the number 2 spot. And that's going to see the papaya color McLaren of A-Dub is bringing home your number 3. So it's a pretty good race from these guys here tonight. Not a huge turnout, so that's a little unfortunate, but we did have pretty good racing through the most part. Just a couple incidents where we had a little bit of contact on track, kind of messed things up for some of these guys, but nothing these guys couldn't bounce back from. Like Jacko, I remember he was down in 6th spot, he bounced up to the number 2 spot, and A-Dub was able to just get himself up into the top 30 spots there and just push like a mad dog to hold on to that position. Forward came close to snipping that from him. I think if he would have been a little bit farther up, he could have had that. And then Slayer Eyes with a solid performance through and through. Just, kind of kept it clean and consistent. Wasn't the fastest, wasn't even close to the slowest. So great result from him. Villeneuve up into that number 6 spot, and then Lancey number 7 there. Oh, it looks like Lancey went fastest on that final lap as well, so that extra point is going to go to him. He was able to go almost over a second faster than Meeb was at the end of that race there. And then we had the DNFs of Baba Yaga with some contact with Villeneuve, yes. And then Johnny Damon and Gonzalez both retired from this race. Yeah, I think Meeb might be holding back on us a little bit here, but you guys out in the chat, don't go anywhere. We're going to try to get some of these guys in here for interviews. So don't you worry. Hello, hello.
Hello. Let's get the rest of our guys in here.
It's a fairly entertaining race from you guys tonight.
It was long. It's the first race I've done in weeks.
Yeah, I guess you were a little bit out of practice, but you still did a pretty good bang-up job there.
The first laps I did were like 30 minutes before the race.
This is why we can't have nice things, sir. Yeah, Baba Yaga, those no fuel and fresh tires definitely helped him there in the end. Lancey went a second faster than Meeb on that final lap. Looks like we got a couple of these guys in here now.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, I was quite lonely, let's say, in like most of that race.
Yeah, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I was right on board with you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take that.
Keep you company. But that was a little bit unfortunate with your contact there with Lancey. There at that.
Yes. I wish I could have stayed in that battle a little longer and maybe had the lead for just a little bit, but I think I would have finished second anyway. So
I think you might have
in the
after.
long run didn't matter.
Yeah. But what was your initial strategy going into tonight? Where did you kind of see yourself lining up and finishing?
Well, I had 2 sets of mediums available, so I thought I might as well start on the medium. I wasn't sure how helpful the hard would be. But Meb demonstrated it was fine, which is why I decided to go on it. I knew that the pit lane was very long and had a timely transit, so a one-stop was likely to be better if there were no safety car interventions. So That's what I went for, and it seemed, even though I lost a good 7-8 seconds with that contact, just to be the right strategy. I
Yeah.
think the one stop worked for Meb and I. I don't know if anyone else did a one stop.
I think you guys are the only two, but yeah, you definitely, both of you demonstrated some fine driving and definitely great tire preservation on Meep's part as well. But yeah, those hard tires around here, I don't know how you guys did it. I can't do it. I can't make them work for me here, so props to you guys for that.
Yeah, and I think there was no opportunity really to fight Meb. Even when I was on the softer tyre in the first stint, like I was only just hanging with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I could have made a pass, but as soon as I did, I would have had to have used my entire battery, and I would have just been sitting duck the next lap, so there was no point. I was just trying to be dragged away from the rest, but,
Mm-hmm.
didn't work. Landsy had the softer compound in that middle stint for him, and I couldn't really do anything to stay out of the way of that. So let's say I hope that come, what is it, round 6 next time? It's not the 4th time I've been spun by the same guy.
Yeah, one can hope.
I mean, we've got to say that there's lag involved possibly too. It's not necessarily him being a terrible driver, but it's starting to add up a little bit.
Yeah, I've been keeping notes. Don't you worry.
I don't know what happened with Ford and Landsy, but that looked interesting when I went past that.
Yeah, I was gonna
Well,
ask Ford.
I can kind of talk about that, but so basically Lancey, I don't know what exactly happened. If it was him and Ada who collided, or if he spun, I don't really remember exactly what happened. But so this was on the exit of the chicane, the back chicane, and he was re-entering the track. And I was like right as I was exiting the corner, so I got a little bit spooked. I was trying to speed up to give him enough room, and I just jammed on the throttle and spun to the left, and we just got all tangled up, and that cost us both a lot of time. So
yeah,
it was just like, it wasn't really anybody's fault per se, I don't think, but it was just
one of those
a mess.
unfortunate timing turned disaster. But
fair enough.
Forward, what was your race strategy? Your thoughts coming into this race? Where'd you see yourself ending up?
I mean, I was doing laps beforehand, and I was like 1.5 seconds off the pace, so I didn't really have off my previous pace, and I did not have high expectations at all. I was glad I just wasn't lapped.
Yeah. I think if we would have had another 3 laps, but
yeah, it was just, this is a track where I spin a lot, and I don't know what the cause is of that, but it's just not my track. So.
Yeah, it seems like this one isn't too far up on anybody's list. But do you have any questions particularly for me, Forward?
Yeah, I'm really just wondering how you got so fast. Was it genetics, or was it practice, or do you not even practice before races, or do you do hours of practice? What was that? Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I mean, I think this is a great league for just putting in race laps and, like just sharpening your racecraft for other, maybe more important leagues. But yeah, I mean, with the way you raced tonight, you probably could have stepped out of your rig or whatever and go, give your girl a kiss on the forehead and some snacks and come back, and you'd probably still be leading. So
yeah, I was
but
thinking
nice
about
job
it.
tonight.
Gave us hope, Meb.
Yeah. Yeah, how did you stretch those tires 30 laps your first stint? Like that was impressive. Nice. Yeah, that was a solid drive from you for sure. Let's see. Forward, did you have any other questions you wanted to ask?
Well, we got Mr. A
Oh
Dub
yes,
here.
what am I doing? Sorry.
Yeah, show
Don't-
some respect. This guy had a great race tonight.
That is true. He did make me eat a few words. But A-Dub.
Did you not know that A Dub was like he's a really good racer?
I couldn't
Like,
remember or
He's
not.
got good pace.
I remember.
And he's a football player.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I remember he's a star on the field. But I just couldn't
appreciate
remember.
that, man. I appreciate that.
This is the big podium guy. Do you not know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Big podium guy.
Yeah, I'll take it right here on the stream. I apologize. So, A-Dub, let's hear your perspective, race start to finish.
From the start, I thought I was gonna get Jacko in turn one. I didn't, so I decided to just kind of watch. It was the three amigos, Lanesy, Jacko, and Meb, kind of duke it out. I knew from the jump that I was gonna do a two-stop because it was the only way I could kind of make it a difference in the race. Because I felt like if I just did a one-stop, I would finish and start behind them. But hindsight is 2020. Like if I did the one-stop and I knew they were gonna make the contact they did, I would have finished second. Um, I did think that on the softs I was going to be able to catch Jacko, and then the VSC happened and it kind of stopped my momentum altogether. But other than that, good race. Third, can't complain. Big podium guy, keeping the streak alive.
Absolutely. So are you full time now, A-Dub?
I think I can make that happen with my schedule.
Perfect.
Friday, the weekend is good for me now. Especially with us not playing games, but the way my workout schedule is with the team, yeah, I can definitely make Friday happen as a full-time driver.
Sweet. I would love to commentate on you some more. You had some pretty impressive driving, honestly.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was kind of talking about it before the race with, I think it was Villeneuve, but, obviously you guys can tell, like, we're struggling with attendance. It's not, like, kind of where it was last season or even earlier this season, but, I can tell you guys that we got a lot of good things in store for the end of the season and moving to next season. That's all already in the works, so there's definitely a lot to look forward to, and appreciate you guys sticking around racing with us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for giving me something to do on my Friday nights.
For sure.
No worries. Look, I got many things I could do, like clashes with this, but I choose to race this because I think it's organised very well and it's an enjoyable experience, despite the numbers falling off a little bit. So I'll stick around for sure.
Yeah, I think, even though we've had a lack of numbers, I mean, the last two races have been pretty entertaining, both like for me driving in this one and commentating the last one. It's been good. So hopefully I'm aiming for like that 10 person mark each race, and it's like if we can keep that up, then I'm happy with that.
Awesome.
At least for now. I know the game's kind of falling off a cliff here as a whole. You can see that even in our Thursday league.
I thought it's been doing
numbers.
that since for the last 10 years or so, but
Yeah.
maybe just me.
Yeah, but all things aside, thank you guys, and it's a nice race, a lot of good racecraft tonight.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Can wrap this up.
Yeah, well, I don't think I have any more questions, and if Forward doesn't, go ahead and get this thing finished off there. But thank you guys. Congratulations on the win there, Mead, and Mr. Super Awesome Podium Guy, A-Dub there, and Jacko as well. You guys are probably some of my favorites to watch racing. You guys are just so freaking fast. It's not fair. But thank you to anybody who tuned into the stream today, and appreciate you hanging out with me in chat. We'll be back here in a couple weeks at the Netherlands, so I hope these guys are getting their practice in for that. I'm sure some of them will, most of them won't. But until then, thank you guys.